What was council debt 3 years ago when Mayor Len arrived, and what is it now?
Council debt, $4 billion, give or take, now $6 billion.
And how does he propose to repay such high levels?
I think the first thing that we need to do is for a start, just manage it within the existing bands, which is what we've got. Secondly, we are increasing our depreciation of the council asset up to 100%. So over the next 5-6 years, we'll be at 100% depreciation. That basically will knock $200 million off our debt base every year. Thirdly, we're making savings every year and selling down our property assets. So you and I as ratepayers own about $1.52 billion worth of assets.
And we pay more rates for it.
Commercial assets, no. And so we're selling those down by about $100 to $150 million per annum, again, basically to maintain and monitor the debt levels.
Last year, the council increased its self-imposed prudent debt limit from 175% of total revenue to 275, correct?
Yep.
Of revenue, which has allowed a huge increase in the amount of the council actually has borrowed or plans to borrow. In simple terms, the council is not raising sufficient income from rates to reduce debt and meet interest payments. The solution will inevitably involve much higher rate increases in years ahead. And I'll tell you who that's from, David Thornton from No More Rates.
Yep. So look, there's what you could do, and I mean this has been suggested from the Prime Minister down, is you could sell the ports, you could sell the airport shares, you could even look at our water, you could look at our residual ownership in Vector, you could look at our property portfolio, as I say, about $2 billion in total. All of those assets reasonably liquid. If people wanted to, you could basically sell them all down. I am not for selling our public assets. I'm not for selling our airports, port shares, not for selling the water.
Okay,
so what I'm saying is that basically offsets the debt we've got. And if people are that genuinely concerned about the level of debt, and we're all concerned about it, it's about managing it. And secondly, managing it in a band that enables us, one, to offset it if we ever had to with the type of liquid asset base we've got, which is about 5 or 6 billion. But secondly, Leighton, we've got to keep building the city. And look, if we paid for it all now, then why should the ratepayers now pay for things like the CRL overnight when that's going to be there for 200 years? So I like us to use debt as an intergenerational way of paying for our infrastructure upgrade.
I want to try and slip one more call in.
Okay.
So my final point on this is, with the flexibility, I'll put it that way, the flexibility in the global financial situation, when interest rates skyrocket, which they inevitably will at some stage, the only way you can deal with it is to put up rates even more.
No, there's another way, and we didn't talk about that, and this is what the government is presently doing with, for example, transmission gullies. So if we're looking at the fact that much of our CapEx expend over the next sort of 10, 20, 30 years is going to be around transportation, then what the government's doing and what I think we need to really look at is utilising others' balance sheet. Public-private partnerships, I think, is a way for us to consider going forward. So it will get back, of course, to our ability to pay, and then, you've got to look at the options that they're also looking at, which is potentially tolls or congestion on network
charge. Which
is
all further charges on the citizenry of the city.
But Leighton, you can sit there and do nothing, or you can actually really start to build
the house, or you can get the house in financial order before you launch first.
The house is in financial order. We are a AA rating, and slightly below the government's rating.
Only AA rating, and I'm not going to take a call. I'm having the final word on this. Only AA rating because
you're the only one I give the final word to,
because
mate.
you can put the rates up to cover off the AA rating.
Yeah, but you can't argue with a rate increase of 2.5.